Swift and Tips podcast. We are now recording a couple of weeks after Top TC,
Hmm.
uh, and they announce a lot of AI tools and some kind of
Right.
uh, evolution of what we used to have in the Apple ecosystem. Now iOS, Mac, iPads, all of them technically will use AI or ChatGPT under the hood. So,
Mhm.
I mean, what 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 is your perspective for that? So, do you think something
Well,
good?
it's clear to me that we're definitely on a cusp, or really in the middle of a revolution. I think on how like just everybody interacts with computers again. I think about what an impact the internet was when it first came out. I remember when I first saw my first web page. I was still in college, and back in the day, there was a single browser, and it had as a default homepage the list of all the new websites that came online that week that you could scroll through. And so I can't imagine what that would look like now, right? I mean, it would be impossible.
Yeah.
And so, but just the ubiquity of that and how much that's transformed society. I mean, we've kind of witnessed that in our lives so far, and I think that generative AI and these large language models is another of these like transformative technology that's coming along. And I'm not sure anybody really knows exactly where that's going to go, right? So how that's going to impact us? I mean, beyond just using technologies like ChatGPT, or the Apple Intelligence integration that's going to be more deeply embedded in apps that people write. Even just improving the performance of Siri and making it easier to converse with that tool and having it
Yeah.
be more intelligent about understanding our intents. There's also, and where that will lead to, I mean, we'll have to see. But day to day as a programmer, I'm really curious about some of these technologies like Copilot or other things that allow it to write boilerplate code for us. What that will be like, like how is it going to affect our day to day lives as developers? I think kind of remains to be seen. It's and so I know that certainly at our, and we'll probably get into this a little more, right? I mean, it's like it depends on your industry, just how quickly you'll be able to sort of jump in and let AI write code for you. But I think to me, even though part of me has this sort of old curmudgeonly kind of, well, I want to write my own software, and I want a tool to write it for me. But if you think about it, like that's what software development always is, right? Is having higher and higher level of abstraction. Like, so like when I write an app, I don't have to go down and write assembly language code. I've got hundreds of layers of other systems that I'm leveraging to write code. So this is kind of just another, in my sense, it's very powerful, the new
Yeah.
level of abstraction I think that we'll use to hopefully spend less time in the quote boring stuff and more time, trying to
The
actually
business logic. Yeah.
innovative. Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. So
Yeah, and from your perspective, that's even a better, interesting perspective because I mean, like you said, so kids maybe at your time they had to learn how to use command lines and learn to programming because that was
mhm,
the only way to interact with the computer, right?
right.
And maybe earlier it was even more challenging, but now it's like, I mean, my kids eventually when they are in the college they will just talk with the computer saying, okay, I need to make an app so with this feature, so could you just code it for me? Yeah, sure. Boom, there you go, you have your
Yeah,
app.
exactly. And what will that be like? I mean, just from a career path and just in general, the role of a engineer or a software developer in understanding how computers work and what's going on under the hood. I mean, like that was one advantage I think of starting with something like an Apple II or a TOC Model One is that, like as you say, to play with the computer, you had to program it, right? And also, the amount of layers between me and the microprocessor were far fewer. It was much easier. It was really understand what's happening. I kind of had to understand what a processor was and what a register was and what the stack is and what the heap is and things like that. And um, although I'm sure that's still taught in computer science classes, I wonder what it'll be like in 10 years. Will it be whole careers where you're basically just writing, GPT prompts? I mean, I know you can look at job listings that are out there today, and that there's a big demand for people who
We are
are,
hiring prompt engineers.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. What does that mean exactly? We'll see. That's interesting, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I had a conversation months ago with someone saying, I don't understand why we are like the end of the world, because we are now typing in a box, in a text box, some words to say something to a program, and and then that program will execute or give us a response. In this case, ChatGPT, and it was like, uh, it's fun because that's the thing all the time. The only thing now is that instead of using C, C++, Swift, or anything, now you're using natural language to communicate with the computer. So, but it's essentially uh, similar things. So you get an input from something that you have written, and then you receive a response. But let's see later. Maybe I don't know. So feature, it's I don't know. It's something that we need to learn to adapt. The society in general. Um, I was reading news this morning, for example, that EU was blocking all the AI things from Apple. uh,
Mhm.
so I don't know. I mean, I didn't read so much details, and that's a lot of politics, I think. But the thing is that, yeah, we also need people need to learn how to react and work together with the AI, because yeah, we can. There are good tools for the good, but also to make things that others can, you know, be hurt by that or so. So yeah, it's a
Yeah,
transition. Yeah,
exactly. And that's why I mean that's my main take on it is I don't think anyone quite understands where it's going because there's so much happening all at once, right? It's
yeah,
almost like this sort of gold rush kind of mentality where even companies like I don't know exactly what it is, but I know we better get on it, right? It's like everyone's which I understand, right? You don't want to be left behind. I feel like companies, even like Apple, maybe were caught a little flat-footed when the first Chat GPT demo came out, and people were realizing, oh, wait a minute, this has moved a lot faster than I thought it was going to. I mean, when I was I'm sure everyone probably is familiar with the Turing test, right? That was where Alan Turing's
yeah,
thought experiment that someday maybe we'll get computers that you could be able to chat with and you will fool you into thinking you're talking to a human being, right?
yeah,
I think we're there, really. I mean, I didn't expect to see that in my lifetime, to be honest. And now I think the tools are written such a way that they try not to masquerade as a human being, but I don't think it'd be that challenging if you wanted to set up a system that you wouldn't know. And I'm sure things like customer support or other sort of services where right now you go through these super annoying like call trees when you got to hit a button, you want to talk to a representative. I mean, I think all that kind of industry is going to be transformed by this. So you'll soon be talking to using natural language to entities that probably won't be people. And
yeah,
and so, yeah, it's going to be interesting. And so, what that's going to mean to us as developers, are we going to suddenly, will there still be room for junior engineers if executives think that they can just have they can just talk to a chat client and have it write their apps for them? I mean, we're not at that point yet, obviously, but we'll see. Kind of see where it goes, right? Yeah.